Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Ace on Music. This week I'm in the office from my home. We're having a few scheduling problems with our normal studio. We'll be back in there on Tuesday to record some proper episodes, but didn't want to leave you all hanging, so a little bit of an impromptu one here and just talk about some of the feedback that I have been getting on the topics that we covered. First, let's talk NFTs, non-fungible tokens, the word of the day. And this has been an interesting one, has brought up a lot of conversation, people asking me, what I thought of them and all that thing. The bottom line is a lot about NFTs and talking to people about NFTs and everything. And the more I just realize I don't get it. I don't understand why people would buy this. But of course, I don't really understand why somebody would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a card either. But at least you have the baseball card. And, yes, I guess you do have the NFT itself, the file on there, but it's on a blockchain somewhere out there. And if, for example, that blockchain shut down, you wouldn't have access to it anymore. And there is some concern about that. I've been reading that a lot. And on top of that, this entire thing hinges on one major premise, and that premise is that NFTs are non-fungible or you can't reproduce them illegally or whatever because they have some super crypto way of making them unique. But now I'm starting to see stories about people who have figured out ways to go and hack into the actual locations of the portfolios of the people selling these things, and are able to basically make reproductions of those NFT. Now, I've only seen one article detail this so far, but if it's what it's saying is true, then these are nowhere near as secure as we've been led to believe. They can be, even though it has a different blockchain ID, it is the same in every other way, and it would take. I'm not really sure about the science involved, but I'm telling this whole thing. I keep calling it the gold rush. This new way of making, and certainly there's a lot of money being spent on NFTs right now. I mean, every day I'm reading articles about NFTs that going for hundreds of dollars, and things that I just can't even wrap my head around why somebody would pay hundreds of thousands or of dollars for these things. But I am a collector at heart, as you can see from behind me, and if I walked you through my house, you'd probably have your jaw hanging open. And I do love collectibles. I've been into comic books and trading cards and kinds of things throughout my life, but this whole NFT thing, it seems so ethereal and so yes, there are NFTs out there that do have a physical component. Like I know that the DJ Linkin Park, he sold one of a piece of art that he did, and within the token you could redeem for the actual piece of art to hang on your wall, and I get that. And I also see the evolving into things like a very powerful ticketing tool where you truly know exactly where the ticket came from the moment it was purchased, and all kinds of things like that. But at the end of the day, I think the one concern that keeps coming up in all of this is the tremendous amount of environmental damage that is being caused because of these NFTs and because of anything on the blockchains, because of the tremendous amount of power that is required to generate these things. And so you have what they call server farms, you have warehouses full of computers all daisy chained and running these calculations to the various cryptocurrencies and NFTs and all of the things that go on the blockchain. And the amount of electricity that's being used is, and to generate the electricity, of course, power plants have to function and all that sort of thing. And so the carbon stamp of creating things on the blockchain is tremendous, and it's environmentalists a great deal. And of course, it's only going to get worse. The more NFTs, the more cryptocurrencies that are being generated, the more power that's going to be required to do it, and the environmental impact will begin to be really. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line with the NFTs these days is that I don't really get it yet, and nobody I talk to seems to wrap their head around it. And I've had a few people accuse me of just being too old, but that's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not going to buy anything that I don't fully understand. And this is a guy who spends thousands of dollars on collectibles and things like that. So anyway, NFTs. I'll leave it with all of you to tell me what you think. I also had a recent episode where we talked about cancel culture that we have right now, where if a celebrity of some sort crosses in his real life, it wipes out his artistic contribution as well. And I specifically took the topic of Marilyn Manson and all the accusations that are being made at him right now by various ex-girlfriends and things like that about his behavior and the way he treated. And my supposition was that I kind of felt guilty about listening to his music, that he had done this, but this particular article seemed to generate more feedback than I'd ever heard on anything else. And a lot of people said you have to separate person from performer. That despite the fact that they're doing these heinous things in their real life, that doesn't affect the art that they've created, or does it? Some people argued that they felt like me, that there is a certain guilt factor that goes along with now listening to his music. But in the end, one of the cleverest responses I had was, "What did you expect from?" You've seen what his whole shtick is about. You know what he's doing. You know what he's about. And this is not a shock, So, what were you thinking listening to him in the first place if these were concerns? So, anyway, I really appreciate all the feedback that you all sent on that, and it caused some lively discussions. I appreciate that. So, anyway, that's just a little bit of a background on the behind-the-scenes thinking of what's been going on lately, and just wanted to say thank all of you for your continued support, continued feedback. You can always email us at acetalksmusic@gmail.com, or if you're a member of our group, you can also leave comments there and see the after-hours show that's available to the Patreon supporters. So, in the meantime, I want you all to stay safe. And I'm excited about recording episodes next week. We're going to be talking about some very interesting things. So until next time, stay safe.